All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the State of the Goonion. I'm going to give you all a little more time to get in. Just so you're aware, we are live translating this. So I believe into 5 languages. So we will be talking a little slower. So I will have some pauses in here. This is just to accommodate the people live translating. So if you hear a long pause, we're just going to we're letting the translators catch up, and then I will keep going. I know a lot of our directors have been excited about this announcement. I know a lot of the line members have been speculating on what it means, and I'm excited to tell you. Once again, I expect there may be mumble issues with just the amount of people that we have on. So go ahead and load up the INN stream on twitch.tv. I have put it in the broadcast. If you did not see the broadcast, twitch.tv/Imperium News. Twitch.tv/Imperium News. I'm going to give everyone a couple minutes just to load it up, get in channel, get yourself some hot chocolate, whatever you need to do, and then we'll get going. And then once again, remember we are live translating, so I will be pausing to let the translation catch up. And thank you to our translators who volunteered to do this. I am sorry in advance for the idioms I will use that are hard to translate on the fly. Also, Conrad Jacoby in the Deutsch/German channel. Make sure you're keying up to here. All right. Sticks, you good? I heard him like hit a button twice. I don't know what it was. Might have been a direct thing. I'm not sure. We'll see. If he pops in, I'll mention it. It's not a big deal. All right, let's get going. Okay, so I want to start this out by talking about history. I want to think back to 2015. I know a lot of you weren't even here then. Some of you weren't playing the game. We have a lot of old heads who are here, but a lot of new players who are not. If you don't know, in 2015, goons were living in Declan, but we were rotting on the inside at that point. We had really embraced the hell balls, blue balls or hell dunks. That had been, our mantra, and it wasn't a fun way to exist. And basically, the entire galaxy united behind casino money and evicted us. And at that point, we were forced out of our home of Declan, which was the home that a lot of people, only had known. And then we moved south. We were followed to Delve, and a lot of we were in bad shape. The only leader from the Casino War Coalition who had, evicted us from Delve that followed us down was PGL. Everyone else, just got tired and didn't finish off when we could have been finished. So we have moved to Delve, and we rebuilt constellation by constellation. I personally FC'd a fleet that put up the first Fortizar on the one Smeb gate. And it was a big deal for us. I remember people like cheering and hollering. And I want you guys, could you imagine can you imagine anchoring a Fortizar today and anyone like whooping and people clapping? Like that was the accomplishment for us, was putting up a Fortizar, one Fortizar. Those were fun times. I mean, it was new and exciting. And as we built, we added allies who lived around us. And this was just sort of by necessity. So this led to a shape where goons were at the core of the empire and our allies were at the end. And it didn't make sense to have them on the edge, um, because goons are generally the strongest group in the Imperium. So 2 years ago, when I took over, I wanted us to be more in the action. Our finances and our general structure were pretty bad. They were in shambles. I want to thank I want to thank the leakers for showing that stuff, so that you guys know it's not just a talking point. You actually could have seen the evidence. So we have been in a rebuild, and I want to thank all of you today because you guys have been part of that. In the last 2 years, even with our relative poverty compared to others, we deployed our supers to fight twice, and both times PanFam found some way to run away from them. For the last 2 years, that group, which only talks about how wealthy they are, has never undocked their super fleet. I want to go back into history for a little bit. A lot more of you here fought with us during World War B, and they began that war with a 3-to-1 advantage. And probably, in my opinion, the most guaranteed war victory of all time in Eve, even more than the Casino War. But that time we held. We fought tooth and nail, we held our space, and we threw them back from our castle. And now for us, Delve has become the place where we told the best possible story. And it's also become a small place for someone as big as us. We lived here for 9 years, and no group in Eve has held space for anywhere near that long. I do not think it's ever been done that someone has held space for as long as we have. So, here's the big announcement. It's time for us to make a new story. Goons are departing from Delph. This plan has been in development for a long time, even before CCP announced the nullsec changes. We set out to capture space in the east, and we allocated several months of time because our enemies told their members that they were looking to fight. After they ran away, we were left holding the space. We won it too quickly. So I do want to apologize to you guys. We have been sort of spinning our wheels for a little bit. We did not expect to, oops into 4 regions as quickly as we did, but we did. And so we've been left sort of spinning our wheels for a month or two now. And apologies for that, but things have to go on the schedule they have to go on. We expected them to fight and they didn't. That was probably my bad, probably bad planning on that part, but that's the case. So where are we going? Starting immediately, Goons will be preparing to move to our new capital of UALX in Tenerifis. I'll explain to you guys the reasons that we're moving. There's multiple reasons. The first one is it'll put us on the edge of our empire, which I feel is the appropriate place for Goons to be. We should be tanking the bow shock of Sov warfare and not asking our allies to do so. This is very important to me. I think that we should be at the edge of space, not in the center of it. Because of our previous configuration, our allies grew around us, and that just happened because of circumstance, and it never really made a ton of sense. Where we're going, we will have more space, more moons, multiple types of rats to hit. We'll have more opportunities to respond to roaming gangs, and we will make our enemies have to work harder to fight us. Our enemies, speaking of them, respond to the changes by demanding venal moons from their allies. We have responded by doubling our allies' space. And enemies are a big part of this. We are moving much closer to PanFam. It's no secret who our most important enemy is. They had 4 years of opportunity to come after us after we were weak following World War B, and they can never find the guts to do so. It's been pretty funny over the last few months as they ran away from their space. Gobbins has bragged to his guys about his master plan of not fighting and taking the space back from us when we left. We were loving this, guys. We thought this was hilarious, but it is the type of leader and an enemy that we fight. Like, he was happy to share this information publicly with his guys that his plan was to not fight and take space back when it was uncontested. In Delve, we were on the opposite end of the galaxy from these people, and now we will be much closer. That's good for us and bad for them. So that is the macro level announcement. I will explain some of the details right now, and then for goons, immediately after this, we will be going to a fleet. So right after this, we will be taking our Ferox navies and our Raven Navy doctrines from UTACU to UALX. We'll immediately move those right after this. We will set a jump clone there. We are not moving death clones there yet. After we do that, we will return to UALX and we will return our capital ships and the rest of the doctrine ships to Delph. So that's ships that are not Ferox navies and not Raven navies. We will be staying in Delph for a few weeks. We're going to pack up everything. We're going to anchor structures. And we are going to, once we've done that, we will move our staging and our capital to UALX as the final move. Delve will not be abandoned. Allies will be taking over that space. I will let allied leaders inform the line if they're grabbing new space, if they're changing space. I will let them tell their line members whenever they choose to do so. So I expect our enemies to attempt to slow us down. That's fine. We will lose some things. That's also just the cost of doing business. Do not be worried about that. The important thing is that we get the job done, not that we get the job done perfectly. That is a unreasonable goal. So we're going to do this. We're going to do this as best as we can. This is going to be the biggest move op that has ever happened in EVE Online, and it won't be even close. We have an incredible plan. We have an incredible amount of hardware ready to go, ready to move. We have been working at this for a very, very long time. This has been gestating for a long time. Do not move your main capitals or any other doctrine ships by yourself. We will be doing move ops very frequently. When you are ready, you can start, once you're packed, you can start bringing extra ships during move ops. So that means something that is not a doctrine ship or is a Ferox Navy or Raven Navy. If you have extra ones of those, you can start bringing those during move ops to UALX. So what that means is, say you have a Cinnable lying around. If you want to take your Cinnable to UALX during a move op, that is totally fine. But if you have a Roke, it's going to stay in Delve until we move the Roke doctrine. For capitals, we will be running safe sinos very frequently to get you to 49 TACU, which will be the kickoff point for a lot of the move ops. And for subcapitals, we will be having FCs run move ops through very frequently to either the 49U or all the way over there. Please do not move yourself. I guarantee you this will be camped. So don't move yourself. I need you guys to spread the word. There are a lot of people have lived in 1DQ. So if you are in a server with EVE players, this is the time to break out those at everyone's. Hit them up. Get yourself those reactions where people are like, no all pings. Let goons know that we're moving if you're in a server with goon friends. All right. I just want to say, I'm going to close with this. It's a monumental undertaking. It's never been tried before in the history of EVE Online, this kind of move. We've been planning it for many months. I mean that it's been a long time in the planning, and it's been fun to watch from this perspective. Now, I want you guys to know that the directorate has had a lot of time to come to terms with this. You guys are just learning about it, so I understand for some of you it'll take a while to come to terms with this. That's okay. It is a big deal. The director is extremely excited. It started out with some people being a little anxious, a little unsure, but right now, before this announcement, everyone was incredibly hyped. In our meeting before this, people were just brimming. It was like a buzz. It was crazy. It was a really good feeling. What we need from you guys, we need everyone to be here to defend our space. It's going to be lots of effort, lots of action over the next few weeks. I expect that there will be lots of efforts and attempts to slow us down. That'll be okay. But what I need from you guys is I need a dedication from you guys right now, unlike anything we've had in the last year or so. So be there focused, be there ready. I've told you guys that telling your story in EVE Online is my main goal. And so this is the next part of the Goon story. So thank you all for being here. We're going to be doing move ops right now, and FCs will be there. I'll be there. People will be there. Directors will be there to answer your questions. So hop on fleets that are going up right now. We'll be sending out pings. That is the end of the State of the Goonion. Thank you so much.
And the whole end of it, nobody heard because of the ads. Oh, well. All right, here we go. You ready, Dave?
Yeah. Well, I put out fires as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our post-State of the Goonion discussion. I am Briss Rubal, joined alongside Dave Archer. Dave Archer is the host of the Meta Show. I am the breaking news anchor for INN. All you guys missed at the end was a brief discussion from Asher saying, hey, we're moving, and everybody's excited, and we're all done. So we wanted to do this stream specifically afterwards so we can talk about what happened, because I don't think it is unfair to say that this is probably one of the largest and biggest announcements that has happened in EVE in years. The bottom line from Asher Elias, the Alliance Executive of the Goonswarm Federation, is Goonswarm will be moving out of Delve. Their new headquarters will move from 1DQ to UALX in Tenerife, moving from the southwest to the east. This is probably the biggest news, probably the biggest, definitely the biggest move up in the history of EVE Online, and it's happening starting right now. Dave, what do you think about this whole thing? Because I tell you, you're one of the FCs, you knew about it 15 minutes ahead of time. Some of us have been working on this for months, but what's your initial reaction to this news from Asher today?
My initial reaction was, oh no, I've got a lot of work to do. So from an FC standpoint, it's exciting. We're closer to the action. We will have more to do that, and there's more space for us to spread out. So that side of me is excited. The corp leadership side of me is thinking, oh my god, I've got like 50 structures I need to bring down. Which will be a challenge, but we'll get it done. But it is bright new futures. I've only ever lived in Delve, so it'll be interesting. And yeah, I think it'll bring a nice change to things.
Asher noted in his State of the Goonion at the very beginning that we have been in Delve for 9 years, and that there have been previous times when goons had been in territory for a very long time, and it felt like they were stagnating. And I have to say, following Asher picking up control of goons 3 years ago, or I guess it was 2 years ago. Maybe it might have been 3 years ago now. It was announced we were going to be the new, more risk-taking, more pushing, more fighting goons. And we were immediately met from the bad guys with a lot of derision and hooting and, oh, I thought this was the new, more aggressive goons. Well, I can't think of a more aggressive thing that we could do short of announcing a full-on invasion of the drones than picking up the entire alliance that has been in the same place for 9 years and moving it multiple regions east, much closer to the front lines, much closer to where our enemies live and are staging, and doing it all for the first time since we've really had to do it when we were pushed out of Deterid way back during the Casino War. So I think at the end of the day, like, it's just ridiculous to me that we've been in one place for 9 years. It's just crazy. Can you imagine that, Dave? Like, I mean, there are many people on this stream who've never lived in a house for that long. Declan, not Dedward, my bad. I can't believe that we're doing it. And I have to say, like, 1DQ has been synonymous with Goon Swarm for a decade. The old joke, anime is cartoons, Delve is goons, has been a standard forever. And now, Delve is going to be left as the backwater portion of the Imperium space, and the front lines will be in Tenerifis. Dave, what is this going to mean in terms of fighting from a FC perspective?
So on the fighting front, it leaves open a very big area that hostiles have been trying to do stuff in for a while, for them to do stuff in, so they can. There'll be more fights probably in the Dalv area, but also it moves us closer to the hostiles, so we can actually engage in border conflict with our enemy again, rather than sitting cloistered in the middle of our pack. As Asher said, we're the big hitters, so we should be on the outside taking the hits. So I think it's going to bring a lot more solve conflict on the border, a lot more action against neutrals. It will cause a lot more neutrals to come into our space, most likely. But at the same time, that to me is just more people to kill, which is really what Eve is about a lot, is shooting the other guy before he shoots you, especially in the.
So by moving east and setting up our main staging in UALX, which is by itself a storage system in Tenerifis, above Tenerifis, Imensi, below Omist, Impasse, Ketch, all of that area, and then bordering on Curse. I have to say, I think the best part about there are a lot of good things about this move, regardless of the fact that we're getting closer to the front lines, getting closer to drones, getting closer to Fraternity, getting closer to where the guys we want to blow up live. One of the things I want to note is this area is much bigger than Delve. And while we have prided ourselves on being willing and able to live in a handful of regions, as opposed to our enemies who sprawl like a giant fat guy on the couch across the entire thing, we've lived in our tiny little corner for a long time. Moving east is going to give us a little bit more room to breathe and allow some of our corporations that have been in very small areas to kind of expand a little bit, which I think is good. In addition, and I have to say, I can't put this into a big enough words for me, because one of the things that I have complained about constantly when I was on the CSM and while I was running the meta show and while we were talking was how ridiculously annoying it is that Pandemic Horde can stage in the center of a region, a group of regions that has no NPC nullsec, while Delve has NPC space in it. We're constantly worrying about getting dropped on. We're constantly dealing with droppers. We're constantly dealing with the fact that the bad guys have a place to stage out of when they want to come mess with us. And guess what Tenerifis does not have? Any NPC nullsec around it. So we asked CCP to fix this, make it so that there was no area in the game where there was an NPC nullsec somewhere nearby, and they didn't do it. So now we're moving to an area that has no NPC nullsec. Dave, how soon do you think CCP is going to fix that? Now that they tend to. You think it's going to be quick?
They tend to change those things pretty quick when it benefits us,
right?
And take years when it benefits the others. So I'd give it a few months, maybe even a few weeks before Horde people start complaining. I can imagine several names that currently live in NPC DAO pretty much that will start crying that they can't just dock up safely when a fleet comes, and they actually have to put some thought into it. So I have a feeling that will change pretty quick. But if they suddenly added NPC space near where we live, then they sure as hell better do it near where they live.
And I know a lot of folks are going to be concerned, especially if you are a Goon Swarm member, you've been in Goons for a while. You've lived in 1DQ your entire existence, or at least since we moved down from Declan. there's going to be a ton of move ops. There's going to be a ton of time to move because we know this is such a massive undertaking and it's going to require a lot of effort from a lot of people. But there really has not been a time when we could do this before. Why couldn't we, Brisk? Well, the main reason was the amount until after the war. One of the big things that we had to do, because our entire space during Vietnam was burned down except for 1DQ. Rebuilding all of that, putting everything back up, putting back up all the structures, putting everything that we needed to do out into space so that we could get back on our feet after the war. We spent trillions of ISK to do this. And any other time moving, we would have lost billions and billions and billions of ISK taking down all of these structures because we would lose the rigs from when you put them on, you can't take them off. They only get destroyed when you pull the structure down. Until CCP made the announcement of the SOV changes. And one of the things that they did to make the SOV changes a little less onerous on everybody was allow for a temporary time period for folks to pull down structures and pull the rigs off without losing them. That is making it possible for us to do this because it's going to save us so much money that we otherwise would have lost pulling down structures and moving them to the new area. It's ridiculous. Colton, that is not a word. Diogenes says that the argument about NPC space is cringe. It's not cringe. The bottom line is we have told CCP over and over again that every region in the game needs to have NPC nullsec for a variety of reasons, not the least of which is you want to have a place for the bad guys to stay. You want to have a place for the bad guys to be able to attack every group. And you want to have a place that folks can go to when they're roaming and just dock up and repair something, having a place with a structure in it that's not controlled by anybody. You want that. We have advocated for that. We have said, do that. They have not done it. So in our experience, the best way to make CCP fix something that is obviously broken is for us to abuse it. And that's what we're going to do. So as far as I am concerned, moving everything to a region that has no NPC nullsec space around it, hopefully will convince CCP maybe this was not the best idea and they'll fix it for everybody else. Hirebrand says, are we renaming UALX to honor Anonymous? Yes, the first Anonymous Palace, I assume, I think that whatever the headquarters of Goons will be should be the first Anonymous Palace. I believe that is what is going to happen. At the end of the day, this is probably the biggest news short of a major war announcement that I think could have been made. And I think it's pretty exciting for a lot of reasons, not the least of which is everybody's got to clean their shit up now. Dave, how much stuff do you have to move? Because I have a lot of stuff to move, let me tell you.
Oh, a lot. My alt corp alone has a couple of trillion ISK worth of assets from industry. And then I've got to arrange all the moving of all the ASCII stuff and the members stuff. So I've got quite a bit all over Delve, which the best thing for anyone wondering, by the way, is consolidate it all to 1DQ. As Asher said in the State of the Goonion, consolidate it all and then move it all out.
That's it. I mean, the bottom line is we have told everybody over the years, consolidate your stuff, reduce it. You never know when you're going to move. A lot of us already did. A lot of us did that pre-World War II because we knew, hey, there was a chance we were going to get pushed out. Now, I think this is going to give us an opportunity to figure things out. Assalian asks, what are my reservations? I mean, the big question I think we all have at this point is, what are the bad guys going to do? What is Horde going to do? What is NC Dot? What are PL? What is Fraternity? What are these guys planning on doing? What are they going to do while we are in the process of moving? That's what I wonder. Because as far as I can tell, and I've been monitoring this pretty closely because I'm interested in this stuff, there was almost no, I don't think there was any leakage of this story, which I find absolutely amazing. Given all the leaks that we saw from content, given the leaks from Jay, given all of the stuff that had happened over the last, 6 months or so, the fact that we were able to put together this plan, get it all ready to go, talk to all the leadership, get everybody on board, and then make the decision and then put it into action, as well as announcing the State of the Union and then doing it without the news leaking ahead of time, I think is one of the big intel coups of the last 5 or 6 years. Like, I think most people that came, when we started this stream, there were 600 people watching it. It got up to about 1,500. And then Asher made the announcement that we were leaving Delve, and it skyrocketed to 3,000. I think that tells me more than anything else that most players did not have any idea that this was coming. Horde normally loves to take the piss out of us. They would have pre-pinged ahead of time what the announcement was going to be if they knew, and they hadn't. So to me, that tells me that we kind of stole a march on these guys, and that they're going to be surprised about what happened, which is good. But Dave, what do you expect is going to happen over the next 6 months to a year while we're moving? I mean, do you expect a lot of action?
I think Horde are going to try and mess with us, definitely. They're going to fail because they always do. But they're definitely going to try and seize any opportunity they can. But as you said, the interesting thing is, and we talked about this in the FC meeting before, there wasn't even a mention that there was a State of the Goonion going to happen anywhere. Just nobody paid any attention to it. So it's probably caught them rather off guard. So we have a bit of leeway. But in the next few months, they will be trying to mess with us. So everybody just really needs to use their brain. Don't try and move yourself anywhere. And wait for your corp or your alliance to assist you, essentially. Because this is a very complex thing. It's somewhat on a scale that's never had to been done before. So it's going to take a lot of organizing. And if people start just trying to fire sale stuff or move stuff themselves, it's going to overcomplicate the situation.
But you know, I mean, you know that's going to happen, right? I mean, that's the thing. I think at the very least, we can expect over the next 6 months some very large, very funny kill mails that are going to show up on Reddit from people who decided that they want to move on their own without following what we're going to tell everybody to do and trying to do it safely. So I think we can guarantee that's going to happen. But again, to your point, I have to say, I agree 100%. Like, the fact that Asher made the announcement on Wednesday to all of us, to the Imperium in pings, that there was going to be a State of the Union on Saturday. There was not a single Reddit post saying, hey, there's going to be a State of the Union on Saturday. Not one. Not even from our own guys doing it. Nobody said it. There were more random posts from small gang guys about their quixotic CSM campaigns in the last 4 days than there were anything about this. It's absolutely hilarious. I have to give Apple and the guys credit, especially all the Black Hand guys credit. They managed to definitely pull one over, I think, on the Horde guys. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the Horde guys knew the whole time and they just wanted to let us make the announcement. I don't know about that. That seems a little outside of what's normal.
Well, there wasn't even a mention in their general chat.
Go ahead. Yeah, that was. Did you see anything in the general chat about it?
No, I've been watching the last few days because I've been quite entertained to see when, you know, they start spurging about it. Not a word, not a single thing.
So for those who are just tuning in now for breaking news coverage of the State of the Goonion 2024, Asher Elias, the Alliance Executor of the Goonswarm Federation and the Imperium, has made the announcement that Goonswarm is moving out of Delve, be relocating to Tenerifis. The new capital of Goonswarm will be moved from 1DQ1A, which it has been for the last 9 years, to UALX. For those of you who are not aware, UALX is another very commonly known system, at least if you're in the Imperium. There have been numerous big fights, including multiple big Keepstar battles that have happened in UALX. It has been a big deal place in EVE over the years. It is 2 jumps away from Catch. It is 5 jumps away from Impasse. It is solid territory. Now, what's the reason behind the move has been asked before, and Asher answered it on the State of the Union. I will paraphrase him. There are a number of reasons. Number one, we've been in Delve too long. And being in an area for a very long time is something that is a common issue with big groups. They start to get complacent. They start to rot from the inside, as he mentioned, had happened in Declan when we were up there before. It's just too long. Second reason, the changes that CCP has made to SOV has made Delve less valuable and has made the new SOV much more valuable, in addition to the fact that when CCP made the announcement of the SOV changes in nullsec, they allowed for a temporary removal of rigs from big structures that allows us to move all of our stuff without losing billions and billions of ISK that would otherwise end up getting destroyed if we were to move. The third reason is it's closer to the front lines. It's closer to Fraternity. It's closer to Pandemic Horde. It's closer to NC Dot. It puts us in a much better position to be able to go from where we live without having to rely on Ansible networks that could get nerfed, because God knows if you listen to Push to Talk and you read some of the CSM categories, the only people that seem to be running for the CSM this year are a bunch of small gangers who want Ansiblexes to go away. Well, we won't need them as much now, because we're much closer to the front lines, 2 or 3 regions away as opposed to 8 than we were before. That's why I think we're moving. And I think the bottom line is this is a game. It's got to be interesting. Getting people engaged is critical. And this is something that requires everybody who has been in the Imperium to wake up and get your butts moving, because we got to get all this stuff picked up, packed up, out of Delve, into Tenerifis over the next 6 months. It's going to be a big deal. This is going to be a big deal. It is going to be a significant thing. It is the biggest move up in the history of EVE Online. And I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in the next 6 months. Dave, you have anything else?
No, it's just definitely going to be interesting, and I'm quite excited to be able to settle in a new area. Do some more exciting stuff. From what I understand, the area, like the amount of space we're going to be living in, will be bigger than Delve. It won't just be the one region, because the great thing about those regions there is they're so compacted on top of each other that it's kind of like 3-4 regions in one, kind of like drones is. So there's more space to spread out. Everybody gets a bit of the pie, so to speak. And with more space to spread out for those miners here, that means there's more moons.
There you go.
So it's exciting and new.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been INN Special Report, breaking news coverage of the State of the Union 2024. I know there have been many questions. There will be many questions that will be answered in the coming months. Obviously, this is not going to be something that happens overnight. It is going to take a while. It did not. It took us 9 years to put all the stuff we have in Delve in there. It took us 3, 4, 5 years since the war to do everything that we had to do in there. The bottom line is, goons are moving. Welcome to 2024. We'll see you guys all in UALX. I'm Brisk Rubal alongside Dave Archer. Thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you next time on INN.
Bye.